Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaura Premanande What number is it again, Prabhu? 9. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 72, entitled The Slaying of the Demon Jarasandha. Text 9, and since 9 doesn't have a purport, 9 and 10. Vijitya Nripatin Sarvan Kritva Cha Jagatim Vashe Sambhritya Sarvasambharan Aharasva Mahakratum Vijitya Nripatin Sarvan Vijitya Nripatin Sarvan Kritva Cha Jagatim Vashe Kritva Cha Jagatim Vashe Sambhritya Sarvasambharan Sambhritya Sarvasambharan Aharasva Mahakratum Aharasva Mahakratum Vijitya Nripatin Sarvan Kritva Cha Jagatim Vashe Sambhritya Sarvasambharan Aharasva Mahakratum. Please kindly chant. Vaishnavis, please. Vijitya, conquering, Nripatin, the kings, Sarvan, all, Kritva, making, cha, and jagatim, the earth, vashe, under your control, sambhritya, collecting, sarva, all, sambharan, the paraphernalia, aharisva, execute, maha, great, kratum, the sacrifice. Translation. First conquer all kings, bring the earth under your control, and collect all the required paraphernalia. Then execute this great sacrifice. Text 10. Ete te bhataro rajan, lokapalamscha sambhavah, jitosmyatmavata teham durjayo yo kritatmabhi. Translation. These brothers of yours, O king, have taken birth as partial expansions of the demigods ruling various planets. And you are so self-controlled that you have conquered even me, who am unconquerable for those who cannot control their senses. So this will be the theme of our discussion. Let's kindly call and respond on the translation. These brothers of yours, O king, have taken birth as partial expansions of the demigods ruling various planets. And you are so self-controlled that you have conquered even me, who am unconquerable for those who cannot control their senses. Purport by the humble disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, it is said that Bhima was born of the demigod Vayu and that Arjuna was born of the demigod Indra, whereas King Yudhishthira himself was born of the demigod Yamaraj. Srila Prabhupada goes on to state, Lord Krishna told King Yudhishthira that he becomes conquered by the love of one who has conquered his senses. One who has not conquered his senses cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the secret of devotional service. To conquer the senses means to engage them constantly in the service of the Lord. The specific qualification of all the Pandava brothers was that they always engaged their senses in the service of the Lord. One who thus engages his senses becomes purified, and with purified senses, one can actually render service to the Lord. The Lord can thus be conquered by the devotee through loving transcendental service. Hare Krishna. Before I begin, I seek the blessings, prayers, and best wishes of all the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present here. By your blessings, may the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, purifying our consciousness and pulling our hearts closer and closer to Krishna's transcendental, divine, loving lotus feet. With this mood, I offer my obeisances to all of you. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha, kripasindhubhya eva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. In the Bhagavad Gita, at different places, Krishna speaks about the importance of controlling one's senses. In the section of the 13th chapter, especially text 8 to 12, Krishna speaks about what is knowledge and what is not. And there's a very beautiful term where the Supreme Lord says, Indriyartheshu vairagyam. What is knowledge? Indriyartheshu. The word Indriyartheshu means senses, collection of senses. And vairagyam means renunciation from the sense objects. Krishna calls that to be wisdom. To know what is a sense object, for which sense, and how not to enjoy that, but actually use that proclivity in the service of the Lord, Krishna calls that to be wisdom. The same point has been reiterated many times. Now we find in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita also, where Krishna speaks about divine and demoniac nature. Krishna says, Abhayam sattva samshuddhihi jnana yoga vyavasthitihi danam, damascha, yajñascha, swadhyayastapa arjavam. This is the first verse of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, what is divine? Engaging the proclivity of the senses in the service of the Lord appropriately is divine. Time and again Krishna speaks about this. In fact, not just in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam we find here, right in the 2nd canto, chapter 3, text 20. It's a series of verses, and in the interest of time, since the discussion is very short, only about 25 minutes, instead of getting into the verse, just to the point of our discussion, Canto 2, Chapter 3, text 20 to 24, this section mentions that our senses are meant for Krishna. And when the ear holes are not used for the purpose of hearing about Krishna, then they're compared to snake holes. Snake holes, where snakes live. That tongue which is not used for glorifying Krishna, and we've heard this from Srila Prabhupada also, that tongue which is not used for glorifying Krishna is compared to the croaking of a frog which invites the snake of death. Similarly, the head which is decorated with a beautiful bedecked jeweled crown or a turban and gives us the position of aristocracy, gives us the position of opulence in this world, but doesn't let us bow down to the Lord and doesn't let us bow down to the superiors. It is described in the Bhagavatam that head is overburdened. It's almost like a drowning man who ties a very heavy rock on his neck, and it just makes sure that he drowns, not floats, but submerges and drowns to death. So similarly, a person who doesn't hear about the Lord with his ears, it's described those ear holes are compared to snake holes. That tongue which is not used for chanting and glorifying the devotees, glorifying Krishna, that tongue is like the croaking of a toad, which invites the snake of death. That head which is bedecked with the turban, bedecked with the jeweled crown of position and aristocracy and opulence, and doesn't let someone bow down to the Lord, that head is the weight, the stone tied around the neck, which makes one drown in the ocean of material existence. Those hands, which may be decorated with bangles, says the Bhagavatam, but doesn't engage in this service, whether it's picking flowers for the Lord, whether it's cooking for Krishna, whether it's playing instruments in kirtan, whether it's offering arati, whether it's stringing garlands, that hand which is bedecked with bangles but is not employed in the service of the Lord, Bhagavatam says those hands, those wrists, those arms are useless. Those eyes which look at social media, well, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that if we use it appropriately. If we don't use it appropriately, then that's where the trouble starts. Srila Prabhupada would give the example of the knife. When the knife is in the hands of a murderer, then it's not very good. But when the knife is a surgical knife in the hands of a surgeon, then it helps save lives. So the instruments are not bad. It depends on whose hand they fall into. So if someone's using social media effectively, wonderful. But if one doesn't have that knack or that sense control on what to do, and if those eyes are busy scrolling and not looking at Krishna, then Bhagavatam says they are like the plumes, the fake eyes made by Brahma on the feathers of a peacock. Those fake eyes, those plumes of the peacock feathers, they represent the eyes which are unblinking in the sense they are actively engaged, not in the service of the Lord, but for looking at very passionate things of this world. The Bhagavatam says those feet which don't walk to the temple. Well, in the present generation, we don't walk to the temple. We take our car to the temple. But the Bhagavatam says those feet which don't walk to the temple, they are like the feet of trees. Now it's interesting, in Sanskrit, the trees are called padapaha. Padapaha. The word pada means feet, and pa means pibati. Padhatu means to drink. So those species who drink water through their feet are trees, are called padapa, which means the roots and the trunk, they're compared to the feet of the tree. The tree does have feet, but it's almost useless because it doesn't move anywhere. So what does that teach us? We may be driving to the temple, that's fine, but once we come to the temple, we make it a point that we circumambulate Tulsi. We circumambulate Radha Golokananda. We try to do the walking here in the form of circumambulation. Then the Bhagavatam describes that body which is not decorated by the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees. That body is breathing, yet it's considered to be dead. What does that mean? How do we collect the dust from the feet of Vaishnavas? We can't fight them and remove their socks and get the dust from their feet. That's not prescribed. This is quite poetic. This means when do we get dust? We get dust when we walk behind someone. In the olden times, there was no tiles, and there was no marble, and there was no granite, and there was no proper concrete roads. So everything was just dust and sand. So when you walk behind someone, that's when you get their dust, which means obeying and walking behind the mood of great souls. That's how you collect dust. So that body which is not decorated by the foot dust of pure Vaishnavas may be living, but it's still considered to be dead. My Guru Maharaj would give a brilliant story in this regard, talking about controlling one's senses. He would say, one time there was a sadhu, and he had a very long beard. He had a very, very long beard. And every time he would bathe, he would dip in the village pond or the river, and he would come out. His beard would be drenched and dripping with water. So it would appear to be quite well shaped and quite long. And all the kids in the village would mock. They would look at the sadhu and they would say, Sadhuji, Sadhuji, oh dear Swamiji, we have a question for you. And the Swami would say, yes, what's your question? And the kids would say, is this the beard of a sadhu, or is this the beard of a goat? You see, goat has a little beard. So the kids would mock and ask the sadhu, is this the beard of a sadhu, or is this the beard of a goat? And the sadhu never answered. He was quite young at that time, and the kids were playing around. The sadhu never answered. Every single morning the kids would say, Sadhuji, you haven't answered us this question. Is this the beard of a sadhu, or is this the beard of a goat? And the sadhu would just smile and wouldn't answer. And one fine day, the sadhu became very old, and these kids had grown up. They had their own kids. And this sadhu was on his departure bed. And as he was about to leave his body, he called all those men who were kids at one point, asking him this question. He said, do you remember, all of you, do you remember when you were kids, you would joke and ask me if this is the beard of a sadhu or if this was the beard of a goat? And I never answered that question. Now I would like to answer the question. So the men were intrigued. What took you 40 long years to answer the same question? The sadhu said, I wanted to say that this is the beard of a sadhu. Right then, when I was in my 30s, I wanted to say that this is the beard of a sadhu. But I don't know what's coming up in life. I don't know if my senses would be under control, or would they go, what if they go astray? What if the sadhu said, what if I had a fall down? What if I give up the path of bhakti? What if I went astray from my practice? So it was too early for me to tell you whether this was the beard of a sadhu or the beard of a goat. But now that I'm on my departure bed, and I know I wouldn't have the energy or the inclination or the opportunity to go astray and enjoy my senses, I'm about to die today or tomorrow. Now I can tell you very confidently that this beard was the beard of a sadhu. The point is, we can't be sure till the very end. Because Balavan Indriya Gramam Vidvansapi Karshati. The Bhagavatam describes the senses can go astray even in one's old age. And Srila Prabhupada would give the example the story of Akbar and Birbal, where Akbar would always ask Birbal this question: how long does lust rule the heart? How long does lust burn like a blazing hot forest fire in the heart of a practitioner? And Birbal would say, till the very end. Akbar said, I don't believe you. I think lust is more active when you're young, but it kind of fades away when you're old. Birbal said, when you get old, the senses are weak. The opportunity to enjoy is gone, is taken away, but the desire is still there. Akbar said, I can't believe you. Srila Prabhupada would say this story. And when an old man in the kingdom was departing, and the king had to go to see him, Birbal said, I'll go with you. Just one thing to add to the piece. Please bring your youngest daughter along. And Akbar said, what is she to do with the dying man? Birbal said, we'll wait and watch. And as they entered the little tent of the old man who was departing, just before entering, Birbal looked at Akbar and said, as we enter with your youngest daughter, just observe the eyes of the old man. And as they entered the tent, the old man looked at Birbal, he looked at Akbar, and looked at the youngest daughter, and his eyes were stuck there. These were the eyes of the dying man. And Birbal looked at Akbar and said, what do you think? Akbar said, I think you were right. So this is the point. When we control our senses, and again, I am not a sadhu. I don't even have a beard. I'm not a sadhu. And I am not sitting here to preach about something. This topic is way beyond my reach. I'm not a sense-controlled monk. I'm part of the problem. I'm not part of the solution. But Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching all of us. And as the servant of Srimad Bhagavatam, I am simply trying to repeat and speak aloud for myself the message of the Bhagavatam. We find that what to speak of all the senses, even one of our senses, when left astray, can create havoc. We see the example of Shaubari Muni. Shaubari Muni was living underwater. He was living under the waters of Jamuna. No stimulating atmosphere, no agitating, no provoking scenes. He didn't have his phone, he didn't have his gadgets, he didn't have anybody to talk to. He didn't have those billboards. He didn't have any conversation with anyone. Think about what he would be eating, what he would be drinking, what would his life be. He would sit on the bed of the ocean or the riverbed, deep underwater, meditating. We find it difficult to meditate even in our comfortable houses. What to speak of underwater meditation. Even underwater breathing, even underwater swimming is so difficult. And here was Shaubari Muni sitting and meditating. And all that went wrong was seeing the mating of two fishes. Fishes. Think about it. Ajamil saw one provocating, irritating, agitating, stimulating scene deep into the forest once. And his story has been recorded in the Bhagavatam as something to watch out for. And we don't have to go into the forest because we have created homes in the forest. And when we drive, when we walk outside, when we see, we meet people, and have the whole world in our fingertips. As we were hearing the other day, His Holiness Shachinandan Maharaj calls this the monster in the pocket. We have the whole world in our fingertips. We don't have to go deep into the forest. So Ajamil threw his eyes once. Shaubari Muni threw his eyes once. And their stories are recorded for lessons to learn from. Then an example of getting distracted by the years, we have the story of Vishwamitra Muni, another great sage, sitting and meditating. And he just happens to hear the ankle bells of Menaka. his meditation is broken. Either through the eyes as Shaubari Muni and Ajamil, or through the ears in the form of Vishwamitra Muni, who had his eyes closed, so he wouldn't have been distracted like Ajamil. But the walking and the graceful tinkling of the ankle bells of Menaka's lotus feet, distracted. And then Vishwamitra Muni got very close to Menaka, and the story follows after. An example of getting distracted, now, well, on the same theme, when we just learn from Mother Nature, we don't even have to go to sadhus. We can learn from animals. Think about fishes. You throw in a bait, and they lose their life just for taste. Just to eat something tasty that's hanging in the middle of a water pond. How tasty. You don't find something tasty like that in a water pond, but the fish is ready to pay with its life just to get a little piece of that bait at the tip of the fishing rod. How amazing. The hook, fishing hook. So whether it's through the tongue in the form of the fish, or whether it's through the eyes back again. Think about the fireflies. Think about the moth which gets attracted by the flames of the fire that it sees. And it's interesting, the moth knows it's going to die. It's seen its parents, grandparents, great-grandparents all rush into that fire flame and die. And it still is intrigued. What is that beautiful orange, red flames? It's possible I may feel the heat. It's possible I may see the spark and be alive and pass through the fire. And it fails. Whether it's through the eyes as the moth, or whether it's through the tongue in the form of the fish. Again, through the ears, think about the deer. It gets attracted to the flute sound of the hunter and is ready to get trapped. Think about the elephants. The elephants, just for the sense of touch with the she-elephant. It's interesting. They keep traditionally in the forests, the way they would catch elephants. Of course, you can't catch elephants, but when you have to trap elephants, they would have she-elephants in front of the he-elephants, and the he-elephant would run to the she-elephant and feel the warmth of the embrace or the touch of the she-elephant. And as soon as he gets close to the she-elephant, they have a pit ready. And as the he-elephant walks in, he falls into the pit, and that's how they trap. Just for the sense of touch. And what to speak of the sense of smell? You have the honeybee, which can taste and smell nectar in the wall of the lotus. All these examples teach us, even if one of our senses go astray, what to speak of all five of them going crazy on a daily affair. Even if one of these senses go astray, we can lose our focus. We can lose our focus. We can find, for succeeding in anything, focus is very important. It's very important to bring our rays of attention, which are currently distracted. It's important to bring them back and focus them at the point that we want to get good at or absorb ourselves in. You can find the athlete, any athlete. You can't afford to be an athlete and be distracted. If someone wants to be an Olympic swimmer, he has to practice, he has to eat accordingly, he has to sleep accordingly, he has to practice accordingly, and every decision in his life is driven in and around that desire for the gold medal in the Olympics. Think about the life of anyone who wants to succeed even materially. You can't afford to be distracted. In our childhood, we learnt in science that if you let the rays of the sun get focused through the lens, what happens? The paper catches fire. if you don't let it get focused through the lens, then the paper may get hot. If you keep the paper under the rays of the sun, it may get warm, it may get hot, but it can never catch fire. But if those rays are streamlined, if they're focused through a lens, magnifying glass, then what happens? Those focused rays not just warm the paper, they can burn the paper. This is why Krishna says that ekeha kurunandana, vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. So when we read, we read. When we chant, we chant. When we sing, we sing. When we converse with someone, we converse with someone. When we sleep, we sleep. When we exercise, we exercise. But alas, because of uncontrolled senses and very hyperactive brain activity, or a mind which is full of waves of samskars of past activities, what happens? We are in a meeting and we think, oh, I have to chant. And when we sit to chant, we think, oh, I have so much work. And then when we are eating, we are scrolling. And when we are talking to someone, we are thinking, how can I get away from here? In every activity possible, we have mastered the science of inattention. We get good at what we practice. We get very good at what we practice. Practice makes a man and a woman perfect. So on the path of bhakti, if we do want, and of course this life of bhakti is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We start when we start, and it's all lifelong. We don't have vacation here. It's not that, okay, after 55 or 65 or 70, I retire, now I don't have to work, I don't have to chant. In fact, we see in the life of our acharyas, every decade, they actually multiply and they triple their service. And that's not possible unless we focus. And that's not possible if we leave our senses astray. If I want to be a good singer, let's say, I can't be eating anything. Whatever I feel like, I can be eating. I can't live a life without practice. Everything has to be driven around the goal. Okay, what am I going to do for a good throat? How am I going to exercise these muscles? How am I going to keep silence? How am I going to project my voice, right? What's going to be the pitch? What's going to be the intensity of my singing? How am I going to fluctuate and modulate my voice? And what am I going to eat to keep my voice intact? And once I lose my voice, or let's say I can feel strain in my throat, what am I going to pop in? What is the medicine? And what are some herbs that I'm going to take so that my throat gets back for another practice session, right? So everything is driven around the throat. Anything that we want to succeed in, absorption, focus, attachment, attention is important, which means control senses. And then what to speak of bhakti when we desire to remember Krishna at the time of death. And this is why it's very important. Every activity that we do, we have to ask ourselves, is it taking me towards my goal or is it taking me away from my goal? You can be a good soldier. Think about a life of a soldier. You can't be a good soldier unless you exercise. You can't be a good soldier unless you're disciplined. You can't be a good soldier unless you make sure that you eat the right quantity, the right quality at the right time. You can't be a good soldier unless you're fit, unless you're driven by that passion for the country. And if we want to be soldiers in the army of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every decision that we take has to be driven towards this filter. Is it favorable? Is it unfavorable? And this is why, when Ambarish Maharaj has been glorified, Shukadev Goswami could have just said, well, Ambarish used all his senses in Krishna's service. He didn't do that. He listed them out. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vachamsi vaikuntha gunanuvarnane karo harer mandira marjanadishu shrutim chakara chuta satkathodaye mukunda lingalaya darshane drisho tadbhritya gatra sparashenga sangamam Granam chatatpada saroja saurabhe Shrimat tulasya rasanada darpite Padau harer kshetra padanusarpane shiro rishikesha padabhivandane kamam cha dasye natu kama kamyaya yatottama shloka janashrayarati. Every sense has been counted out to say by Sri Shukadev Goswami that Savaimana Krishna Padaravindayo. He used his mind to remember Krishna. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. Through his tongue he only glorified Krishna. Karaur Harer Mandira Marjanadishu. Through his hands he mopped the temple and cleaned the floor and worshipped the deity. And Shrutim Chakar Achyuta Kathodaye. Through his ears he heard about Krishna. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drisho. Through his eyes he gazed and glanced at Radha Golokananda. And Tadbhritya Gatra Sparshenga Sangamam. Through his hands he embraced the devotees. Through his hands he touched the lotus feet of senior Vaishnavas. And through his nose he smelt the fragrance of flowers, garlands and tulsi offered to Krishna. And Pado Harer Kshetra Padanu Sarpane. Through his feet he circumambulated the temple. Through his head he offered obeisances. And through his heart he only desired to serve the Lord and nothing material. And this is why, to conclude, the word Vrindavan, the Vrindavan Dham that we want to attain, what does the word Vrindavan mean? Vrindavan has many meanings. But in the context of our discussion, the word Vrinda means group of senses. And Avana means nourishment. Krishna Bhakti brings in nourishment to the group of our senses. Srila Rupa Goswami has written in his drama, which has been quoted by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the first chapter of the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad writes, Kvachid bhringi geetam, kvachid anila bhangi shishirata, kvachid valli lasyam, kvachid amala bhringa parimala, क्वचिद् धाराशाले परक फलपाले रसभरो ऋषिकानां वृन्दं प्रमदयति वृन्दावनमिदं. Rupa Goswami Pad says, what is Vrindavan? That place, Kvachid Bhringi Geetam, that place which brings in the sound of the humming of the bees to the ears. That is Vrindavan. Kvachidanila bhangi shishirata. What is Vrindavan? That place where the sense of touch is nourished by the breeze, fragrant with the lotus flowers. Then what is Vrindavan? Kvachit valli lasyam. That place which gives nectar to the ears by the moving of the creepers in the forest. And Kvachidamala malli parimala. What is Vrindavan? That which intoxicates the nose with the fragrance of jasmine flowers. What is Vrindavan? Kvachid dhara shali paraka phalapali rasabharo. That which intoxicates the tongue with the fruits and the berries of the forest. Rishikanam vrindam pramadayati vrindavanamidam. This Vrindavan is the fruit of all gratification of senses, not just for the devotees, but even for Krishna. So therefore, to conclude, the name of the deity is Golokananda is quite interesting, because Go also means senses, and Loka means group, and Ananda means joy. Krishna Bhakti doesn't just mean negation of senses, it actually means application of senses in Krishna's service, and intoxication and joy to the group of senses. Goloka Ananda. Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. I can give you the reference. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kvachit Bhringi Geetam. Yes, I can send you the reference. Tour de force. Antya 1, yeah, Antya 160. You have to love Sanskrit. So many meanings.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvantam Aravindanalayataksam Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasta Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Divan Vikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vaskachade Satarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vaskachade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe 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 Jaya Giri Govardhan 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 Jaya Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shila Prabhupada Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurani ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mai Purnamani Dham ki jai. Jagat Puri Dham ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki. Shrimati Tulsi Devi ki. Harinam Sankirtan ki. Priya Pradanga ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just a quick reminder that we haven't picked a place or time yet, but there will be Harinam on Saturday. Just stay tuned and we'll send an announcement out soon. Chaitodarpanam marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairavya chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipanam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam paramvidayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam Nam namakari bahudan nija sarva shaktis tatrapitan amarena kala etadrishita vakripa bhagavan mamapi. Lovely turban. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhishuna amanina manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoitaki Twayi Rainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishamevavam Buddha Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galaju Daraya Varanam Gadgarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamritamanastuvam Adarshanam marmahata karotuva yatatatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastusa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other we've fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shaskaska ki jai. And a very, very big happy birthday to Ma Mantra Prabhu ki jai, Hariva. And thanks to Amarendra for his wonderful class and for Swastika Mataji for dressing the deity so beautifully. So nice. And welcome to our guest, Chandrasekhar Acharya Prabhu. So we have so many nice devotees here. And downstairs, Dairadika is heading up a team making a very nice offering for the deities. So wonderful to be together worshiping Shri Shri Radha Golokananda every morning. Hare Krishna.